Hi, I'm going to be talking about Vipassana in this video, and it's actually pronounced as Vipassana. And I'm going to talk about what is Vipassana, why did I choose to go for it, how was my experience, and things you should know before you opt to go for Vipassana. And lastly, a couple of stories that I just feel like sharing with you all. Before I start the video, I just want to share my gratitude towards people who introduced me to Vipassana. And I feel genuinely very lucky and blessed and grateful to have met certain people in my life, who are happy and willing to share their knowledge and their experience with me. And because honestly, Vipassana was everything that I was looking for since a very long time. And I'm so glad that these people, they recommended me Vipassana. They understood what it is that I was looking for in my life, and they introduced me to it, and because of which I pursued the course of Vipassana. So thank you so much, Ashwint and Shevil. It really means a lot to me. So the first question, what is Vipassana? Vipassana is a meditation technique. Now you may be thinking that there are already a lot of meditation techniques, and isn't all meditation just supposed to be like a similar way of closing your eyes, breathing or visualizing, etc. So no, Vipassana is a very unique meditation technique where the focus is not on visualization, and that is because the Guruji, who's S.N. Goenka, who's going to be teaching you Vipassana if you opt for it, believes that when we are doing visualization, what we are doing is we are either creating a reality or imagining something that is not there. Vipassana does not believe in that. Then the other aspect of Vipassana also focuses on breath. It focuses on observing your breath. And why is that? For that, you can actually head to my other video which talks about gross body, subtle body, and kosha body. I'm going to link it here. So basically, as a human, we have three bodies within us. It's the gross body, the body that we see, the subtle body, where we do all of the spiritual work, be it your chakra balancing, meditation, everything. And then there is a kosha body, which is the ultimate liberation or liberated self. So Vipassana actually is a meditation technique which again focuses on your subtle body in a quest to slowly unveil or unleash your kosha side or your true liberated self. So how was Vipassana discovered? Vipassana is actually a really old technique. BCs and centuries old, and it was actually rediscovered by Siddhartha Gautam Buddha. He discovered this technique after he had already experimented with a lot of other techniques or other ways of achieving his liberation. And then finally, when he discovered Vipassana, he realized that ultimately this is what a human needs to overcome their miseries, to overcome their thought processes, their mind, change their patterns, their thinking behaviors, and observe the reality and the truth as it is, to remain sampan, which is stable in any and every situation. If there's happiness in your life, you do not get overtly happy. If there is sadness in your life, you do not get overtly sad. Why? Because you just realize that all of this is going to arise and pass. So things that we keep on seeing on the internet, like change is constant, or just like happiness is not constant, even sadness is not constant. So simply put, that is pretty much the concept of Vipassana. Now if you already know of this, then why is it transformed, or why is it that it is called a proper technique or meditation? So what you have to understand is that when we do any other form of meditation, maybe we are visualizing a white light, or we are visualizing we are entering a gateway and we are putting our thoughts there, or we are visualizing, working with our breath and manipulating our breath. Manipulating our breath means like we are breathing in and out fast, or doing box breathing or anything like that. So all of these things are basically manipulation, right? Because हमने अपनी breathing control करी, or when we are visualizing, we are of course getting our brain to visualize a lot. However, Vipassana is basically a technique in which you learn to be aware. And instead of being aware of things around, because honestly, outwardly, we are all supremely aware of everything. You know, like how certain people say, oh, I'm very perceptive of things, or whenever something bad happens to us outwardly, we immediately notice it. Something good happens, we notice it. Something's happening between two people, we notice it. So outwardly, the observance of us is of course quite a lot. Vipassana is a technique which will teach you how to observe yourself inwards. How it does that is, it will teach you how to start observing your breath, and from your breath how to observe your body. And it only works on the subtle body. So again, you can refer to my previous video to understand that how there are different bodies in a human self, and how the ultimate aim of life is to reach the kosha body, which sometimes is not actually possible in one lifetime, but hey, we can aspire. So yes, so Vipassana is basically a meditation that teaches you to work with your subtle body, to work with your breath, observe the things as it is, and slowly as you start doing this, what happens is your brain is getting trained to observe the things as they are. Because when you're observing your breath, you're not manipulating it. Like suppose the way I'm breathing right now, I'm simply observing that, and I will not manipulate it. I mean, increase the speed of my breath or the density of my breath just to get into a meditative or a calmer state. Because usually in any other meditation form, you do have to manipulate your breath to become calmer. Then once you have achieved that goal, then the next thing is Vipassana will teach you how to observe your body, and it will make you observe different parts of your body. And when it does, you would not be working with the gross body sensations. If you're getting confused with these terms like cross body, subtle body, you can refer to the other video, because I want to keep this video short, so I will not explain a lot about those bodies in this video. So Vipassana basically teaches you how to not observe the gross body sensations, instead observe the subtle body sensations. Now when you start observing these sensations, and these sensations can be anything, could be as simple as itching to something maybe more complicated, or feeling like whole vibration in your body or certain parts of your body. When you observe, the biggest thing that Vipassana asks you is, firstly, not to react. If you're itching, you will not itch it. It'll pass. Because first thing you have to understand is everything comes and goes. Then second thing that it teaches you is that you are not supposed to get excited or attached to any of these observations. Suppose if you felt like an electric current or vibration in your body. So it's very normal for us humans to get supremely excited and be like, oh yeah, like I felt something so great. So no, you can't do that. Because you have to understand that, oh, I felt great right now, but it's going to pass too. And suppose if you're experiencing pain in your body, lethargy in your body, then again you can't react. You can't let your mind or yourself feel that, oh, because I'm so lethargic because of so and so reason, etc. It doesn't work like that. So whatever comes, you're just supposed to simply observe it. And the third thing is, we are just supposed to remain our feelings are supposed to be, or not our feelings actually, our reaction or our observance has to be extremely balanced. So the same reaction needs to be there for a happy or a positive sensation. The same reaction needs to be there for a negative sensation. And what is the same reaction? It's basically no reaction. You observe and you let it pass. And throughout the meditation, what they do is they make you focus on different aspects and parts of your body, and you are told to practice this daily. And before I jump into the daily aspect, as a part of the course also, you're made to meditate for good 6 to 7 hours in a day, and you're simply taught to train your mind to be aware of the fact that what is happening first inside on your body. And Gautam Buddha actually established Dhamma, and I don't mean to say he established. Dhamma has always been prevalent. He just rediscovered it. And what is Dhamma? Dhamma is the eternal truth, the real truth. And the real truth is that things will happen and they will pass. And what you're doing is, via Vipassana, you are understanding the Dhamma. And of course, other aspects of Dhamma also, that is wisdom, compassion, love. So yes, ultimately the whole form of this meditation is to make you understand that everything is anatya, everything is impermanent, and once you start realizing and absorbing that in reality, that's when you start moving closer to your dhamma and you start moving closer to your liberation. So after you have gone through this entire bodily experience, the intellectual wisdom of this whole exercise is basically to understand that sab anitya hai, anitya hai, which basically means that everything is impermanent. And this is such a major learning. And while you may feel hai to internet ke quotes pe bhi mil jata hai, if you're feeling like that, that's so not true. Because firstly, when you experience it within your own body, you truly realize, oh yeah, like I was itching so bad here, I was itching so bad there, oh there was such bad pain in my knee because we had to sit like this for hours, but it's gone. I could just wake up normally, and like my leg was not sleeping, and none of the people's leg was actually sleeping or any problem like that. So you actually realize that how everything is impermanent and how this plays tricks on you. So that's the biggest learning. And then the another aspect of constantly repeating to yourself sab anatya hai, sab anishchay hai, I also feel it's a very wonderful way of having a positive self-talk after having experienced it within your body, that yeah, it's genuinely anitya. I experienced this sensation right now. I did not form any attachment to the sensation that, oh, I like this sensation, I want this. Oh, I don't like the sensation, I don't want this. No attachment. And then I tell myself, as a part of the technique, anitya hai. So for 10 days almost, you're constantly telling yourself also, anitya hai. So as you start doing that, when you come out of it, what tends to happen is you genuinely just start realizing this for a lot of the things outwardly also. A little context here before I jump into that, what is this Vipassana meditation course. So, whatever experiences we go through, psychologically also and scientifically also, it is said that all our trauma and all our joy, happiness, everything gets stored in the body. Again, refer to the old video that I had made, so that you understand that even though the soul could be transcending from one life to another, it is ultimately the body in that particular lifetime that is carrying this soul, right? So a lot of our trauma, sadness, triggers, everything is actually stored in our body. And this is my understanding of it, that when Vipassana asks you to focus on your subtle body and to observe the reactions of the body, to observe what is happening on the body, then what tends to happen is you are basically kind of rewiring your brain into not responding to the triggers, to the trauma, to the joy, and of course over a period of time. So this is my understanding, and that's why you are asked to work with your subtle body and not your gross body. So because it is your subtle body that carries a lot of these experiences, similar to like how aura cleansing, chakra cleansing, all of these works are basically done on your subtle body. So once you have mastery of your mind, and you know that okay, whatever my body is producing in terms of sensations, these sensations are maybe a response to something, not a response to something, I don't care. Whatever they are, pleasant, unpleasant, I don't care. I'm simply going to observe it and let it pass, and not bother too much in terms of that, oh, I do want this sensation again, or detest any sensation, that, oh, I didn't like the sensation, it didn't feel good. No, I feel a sensation, I let it pass. Now, what is the Vipassana meditation course? And I keep switching my pronunciation between Vipassana and Vipassana, so please excuse me. So basically this course is a 10-day program which happens globally, not just in India. And yes, it is a technique that was carried out by Buddha, and then Buddha taught to a lot more people, and then more people got associated with the technique, and further more people wanted to carry it forward. So in this course for 10 days, first thing, it's Aryamon. You are not supposed to speak. You are not supposed to even look at the other person in the course. And you're not even supposed to talk to them, using any gestures or in writing. No. So even if like two people are crossing paths, you look down and you just walk your way. So the first thing that it does is it brings up a lot of thoughts. And the funniest thing is, by day 3 of Vipassana, you start realizing that how stupid and idiotic your mind is, because take it from me, the thoughts can be so overpowering. Like what thoughts we experience right now, maybe, during the late night hours, because usually a lot of people have late night anxiety or late night overthinking habits, or sometimes whenever, like in our lives during the day, like right now when we have a lot of distractions, they are 1% of the actual thoughts that you will experience when you are just quiet with yourself. And Guruji also explained a very beautiful thing, which I think we all know, but it's like he put it into words, that the thoughts are either of the past or of the future. They are either pleasant or unpleasant. And you will realize that these thoughts become so overpowering, and you're supposed to sit with these thoughts. So even while you're meditating, you're focusing on the work that you're supposed to do, you're being taught the technique, these thoughts keep coming, they keep on going. And the biggest question everybody had was, oh my god, I can't put my head to dhyana because, I'm just thinking so much, or I'm getting too many thoughts. Yet you are just asked to keep the thoughts in the background, or to let the thoughts speak. Let them come and let them go. Now in the hindsight, what I understood was that when you get all of these thoughts now, which can be really bad or they can be really good, really dramatic, when you stay with the thoughts, you actually start realizing a lot of things about yourself. Now again, this is where I would also say the onus of sense of responsibility, the onus of understanding that you're there for a purpose needs to come into the picture. Because mostly whenever these thoughts of past, present, etc. will come, it would be either related to a situation or people, somebody who did bad to you or somebody who did good to you, and how you felt in that situation. So instead of being the thought like that, at least this was my takeaway from it. So instead of being the thought placing the blame on the person or on the situation, what happened was I started looking a lot more inwardly. And with all of these thoughts, I actually could see a pattern in my thoughts, and I could actually also realize what kind of person I am, what kind of feelings, what kind of thoughts am I holding on to, and what do I truly feel about situations, about certain people, or about my future, about my past. So the moment you realize that, it's easier to take on responsibility, because if somebody was to come and tell you, hey, this is good in you, this is bad in you, you may not immediately accept it, or you may have your reasons and your justifications that you will start, and you will be like, this is the reason why this is like this. But when you're so alone with your thoughts, nobody to chatter, they don't even give you a pen and paper to write. And if you follow me, you know how habitual I am of writing. I can't even make a video without writing my thoughts. So anyway, then you start realizing that how these thoughts are actually just mere thoughts. It's just random fuzzy music in your mind. And you will also start to realize how your thoughts have literally no pattern, or how certain reoccurring thoughts would actually show a behavioral trait in yourself or a mindset trait in yourself. And if you know me, you know how much I love working on my own self, and that's what I keep telling you also. I think self-work is the best thing that we can do to our own selves. So when you start realizing that, it's a lot more easier to work with it. And because the realization is coming from you within, so the acceptance is also quicker. Or even if the acceptance is not quicker, at least the awareness happens, which is the first part of any sort of self-work that you have to do. Once you're aware, then the next step is acceptance, and moving on to further working on it. So it's a 10-day course. For the first 3 days, what they do is they would simply be just teaching you how to settle in the technique. Firstly, they know that we are all people who have life aspirations, overthinking, and love life, career, ये वो जिसकी तुम लोग readings देखते रहते हो और मैं content बनाती रहती हूँ उन readings का. So the first 3 days, what they do is they basically train your mind to learn to calm down, to learn to sit still, stay still, and practice the initial couple of steps of the technique. And I genuinely felt the course is beautifully designed. The way they have put up everything, in sense that how it is actually Guruji, who actually is no more and he left for his heavenly abode 8 years ago, is still very much present there in form of video recordings, voice recordings, and it is actually him who's teaching you the technique. So it's like the technique has been preserved in its truest nature, There has been no change कि अच्छा नहीं इस सेंटर में टीचर अलग था, उस सेंटर में टीचर अलग था, कुछ डिफरेंट हो गया. None of that. So it's Guruji S.N. Goenka who's actually teaching you this technique through and through. He is only the one who's answering a lot of your questions, and I'll tell you how. And he's the one who's actually guiding you towards the technique. So it's on the third day that you get a little closer to Vipassana, and on the fourth day is when you finally learn Vipassana. Now, coming to another aspect that I really liked of the course, at the end of each day, what happened was we all had a lot of questions and doubts. And because it was Aryamon, you were allowed to talk to the assistant teachers that were there for brief periods for specific questions. But at the same time, sometimes as a human, you also start feeling certain questions are very stupid, or you immediately don't want to be like, this is happening, that is happening, because you're still like understanding that what is happening. The best part is that this technique has been practiced by so many people, or the way S.N. Goenka ji has made the course, or the way this technique has been carried forward, it brings up such similar problems for a lot of people that at the end of each day there was a small lecture which they call the discourse by Guruji, and most of the questions, actually 90% of the questions, would simply get answered in that. And then you're just like, oh, okay, that's why this was happening, great. Oh, okay, that's why. Oh, so I have to like stay with it. Okay, cool then. So it's great like that. Then it continues from 4th day till 10th day, where you're actually given these 6 to 7 days to basically sit down and learn to master your mind and practice the technique continuously. Because once you have practiced it enough there is a stronger chance that you will carry it back with you to your home, and you would be more inclined to pursue it. And these 6 to 7 days also become like an important period where, if during this technique you experience, I would not call it epiphany, but you experience certain important moments, you start seeing the benefit, or you start seeing that how it actually helps you. It could be in whatever manner. It could be something as simple as that, if you cried, and if you cried without even having any single thought in your mind, but you just know that, okay, I have let go something, or something was released. So that is the reason why such a long course. Also, why Aryamon? And I genuinely like the concept of Aryamon, because when the mon finally broke, then of course a lot of chattering started, discussions around things of the facility, the meditation, how was it for you, how was it for me, all of this started. And Guruji actually said that, we practice mon here, why? So that there's no comparison. And I think that's so beautiful, because don't you think, like, as humans, we all anyway have a habit of feeling, oh, we are not good enough, or all these doubts like, oh, this is not meant for me, या मुझसे तो नहीं हो रहा, अच्छा उसको light भी दिख गई, मुझे तो light नहीं दिखी in meditation. So when you're not chatting, you don't know the experience of the other person. And again, if you're chatting, and if you're supposed maybe crying or going through, if you're feeling suddenly distressed because of maybe you had a moment during your meditation, then you again have a shoulder or a kandha to share it with somebody. But that is not the aim of it. Otherwise, how will you go inwardly? You're again building your dependencies or attachments to, to sharing, or to, like dependencies on people to get you out of your misery. And that is not liberation. That is not what, we are supposed to seek as humans. So that is another rule. You can, of course, chat with the sevika or sevak there. You can chat with the teachers, but few words, limited words. In case you are experiencing any major problem, just to the sevak you can discuss those problems, and they would be taken care of. So now, why did I opt for it? So to be very honest, because it's not about past or future. You have to live in now. And this now is exactly what I was seeking. Like, I was seeking something, that can help me live more peacefully in the now. So now that I've given you context, a little bit more oversharing maybe, I have taken certain decisions in my life in the last couple, 3-4 months. And I have been restless, and I have just been a little fuzzy in my mind about what next, sort of a thing. That's one thing. And secondly, in general also, I am a very impatient and a restless person, and I think this just, I used to say it comes to me so naturally, and I still feel it does. So I wanted to change this. I was seeking stillness. Like, I have the restless leg syndrome. um, I get very restless any moment of the day, and I didn't like that part of me. I just wanted to be like there, and I know like it's human, and like I could find ways of justifying it, but I was just looking for something that that would just put a little bit of stillness in me. And also I'm an Aries, so stillness doesn't come to me easy. I think Aries babies know. So I really wanted more stillness in my life. So that was the main reason. And apart from that, for a very long time, I was looking for a meditation, for a technique, for a way of living, a mindset or an art of living which did not involve getting involved any organization, any cult, any dogma. And I know that these words have a very negative connotation, but I did not want basically where somebody is chasing me and asking me, did you do this? Or have you done this? I wanted to just learn something or know about a way of living life. Sorry, I'm burping. I just had a lunch. Uh, know a way of living life and observing life as it is. I did not want to live in the past or worry about the future, which I feel is the reason why, anxiety, restlessness, all of these things stem from. So I just wanted to be like in the now. And I have practiced a lot of things, and honestly all of those practices are very beautiful. But sometimes what tends to happen is, in certain practices, I would not like to name those practices, you have to do certain uh, rituals, or like, and ritual can literally be just as simple as like attending a meeting. A ritual can simply be just as simple as like that, this is how much time you're supposed to like give to it on a daily basis, and then make a counter and like track if you're doing this or not. I didn't want that. I can't do that. I don't like anybody knowing about my faith, my beliefs, and I like to keep it like very much to myself. And I was looking for something that is on similar lines. Ki nobody should be after me, nobody should be asking me, or like regularly guiding me. While we all need guidance on any path, but I didn't want that I should be told to do things in a particular manner, fashion, or timeline. I wanted to know of a particular thing, and then be able to and then be given time to be able to explore it in my own way. Being diplomatic with words is sometimes so difficult. So that is the reason I went to Vipassana. I was seeking stillness in my life and some sort of a way of living or a technique of meditation which I can just practice daily in my own time. How was my experience? So it was wonderful. It really was wonderful. Like, all throughout the lectures, the discourse, I literally felt, oh my God, yeah, this is like what even I believe in. And oh my God, like, this is exactly what I came here for. And, some of the things I didn't even know that I came for that. And then as he spoke, I realized, oh, that resonates with me. Oh, so like this is the path to that. Oh, wonderful, like that. But, I like to keep it real. Right on second day. So day 0 is the day of registration, okay? So that's why the whole course becomes like 12 days. It's basically 10 and a half days of Vipassana and then 1 day for your registration and all of that jazz. So day 2nd, I felt like quitting. I literally felt like, I don't want to do this. And I was like, it's not meant for me. I think I've signed up for it for too soon. And I literally had to talk to myself and tell myself that, listen, you've done a lot of arrangements to be away from everything for 10 days, because they even take your phones, RM on, and like so many other things. So I was like, okay, you better like see through it. I don't know, like you're doing it, Kamya. Like I literally had to tell this to myself. And thankfully, in the discourse on second day, that's exactly what Guruji also mentioned. He says that, the doubt creeps in and you're like, oh, maybe, it's not meant for me. And I'm like, okay, feel called out. But okay, so that means a lot of people go through this. And he did also actually mention that it's usually second day that, people immediately want to quit, because your mind is not habitual of being still. And while you're learning to be still, you have not even mastered it. All these thoughts, that keep on coming your mind, and you just start realizing, oh my God, like my brain is a maniac. What is wrong? So that was that. Then things became very easy on the 3rd and the 4th day. I don't know if I should say this because I don't want you also to get into a comparative attitude. But on the fourth day, while we were practicing Vipassana, I was literally jumping. And I remember from my asan, I literally jumped like 5 to 6 inches ahead. And it just came so naturally, and I felt so lost. And like, I'm just lost in the meditation. So that was great. But again, the point is that even as you feel that, you are not supposed to get attached to that feeling. Meaning, during the next of the days, I did not get that feeling again. That's one thing. And secondly, I can't go back to that feeling again. Ari, I felt like that then. I should feel it like, I mean, I hope I feel that way again. No, because I have to understand that whatever sensations, whatever my body is showing me, my subtle body, I just have to observe and move on. Good, bad. There would be both days. Just like in life, you have misery, so you just have to accept it and move on. Then came the sixth day. And you know what happened? On the first day only, they said that you can be a little flexible with your asan. Like, if you have like, if you want like backrest, you can like put your asan next to the wall. So I did everything to make myself comfortable. On the first day only, I put my asan right, like right near the wall so that, I always have back support. So I was sitting at the back of the meditation hall and I could literally see everybody. And I think I can speak for everybody that sixth day was so difficult for all of us. And sixth day, I actually felt like crying in sense that I really want to go. Like, okay, like I've understood the technique and I mean, I've understood. Now I'll go and practice it at home. But I just want to go. Because, RM on. Oh, also, even in terms of, the way you have to live. You have to clean your own residential quarters. The meal times are fixed, and throughout the day, you're mostly just meditating. You start your day really early at 4 o'clock, and you end your day at around 9:30. So sixth day, I still think of it, and I'm like, sorry. So yeah, that was that. But thankfully, I made it through sixth day because then Guruji also mentioned that sixth day is also really difficult. So yeah, credits to our own selves, no? So yeah, I mean, should give credit where it's due, no? So yeah, then that, and then on the 7th, 8th, 9th day, things were a lot more easier. I would not say that, through and throughout the meditation, I was always focused. But then because you start seeing certain changes in your thoughts, certain, I don't know if I should call it benefit, but basically you start sensing that, okay, something is changing. And see, that is true. Because, again, if you will see my other video, which is talking about the bodies, there I've also mentioned about breath, which is the prana. So when you're observing your breath or anything to do with the breath, a lot of chemical changes and electromagnetic changes take place in your body. So definitely the changes are happening. So that's what happened, and then I was enjoying it. Of course, the patience was being lost a little bit here and there in sense that, when will I get to go home? But each time we sat down for meditation, it was good. Like, you wanted to pursue it. So that was great. And during the meditation, there were many days, when... many days as in like there were 3-4 days, where I just cried. And honestly, what happens is usually when we cry now, because you're not habitual of understanding that we can actually cry without any thought in our mind. Whenever you cry, if you observe, you would have for sure some thought, oh, somebody did bad to me, somebody did good to me, or I missed certain times, etc. But I had certain moments that I actually cried without any reason, just because I was passing through a certain sensation of the body. And I didn't even know that, oh, I'm passing through a sensation on my body on some part like hand, and I'll cry. So that is what I feel is that, again, because the trauma is stored in the human body, wherever it is stored, as you're going through observing the sensations on those parts of the body, whatever comes up, you experience it and then you let it pass. So yeah, that also happened. And then finally on the 10th day, your RM on is finished after almost half the day is passed through. And that's when the chattering started. And that's when we all were also very happy. I remember in our meals also we got rasgulla that day because it was such a happy moment and everybody had like smiles, because during Vipassana you can't even smile, like there's supposed to be just no reaction and you observing yourself and your thoughts. And then the last day everybody was chatting and smiling, so it was nice. And also it was so cold where I had gone, and I had totally undermined the weather. I was like, oh yeah, I'm from Delhi, oh please, like I know winters. But it was so cold. I remember picking up a kambal, picking up a blanket from there on first day, then picking up the blanket on second day. So basically I had 3 blankets with me and still I felt so cold. And I used to literally wear the blanket to the Vipassana hall daily. And everybody was observing, because like even if you say you're not supposed to observe it or other, like as humans you're just observing, but you're ignoring and moving on again into your own self. And last day everybody was literally making fun of me, and they were like, oh, you said you will not feel as cold. Even Bombay people keep on saying, oh, it's winter season here, but what happened? We have been only seeing you with kambals in and out. And yeah, that is the moment when I really wanted to make the Vipassana center into a burial ground. But then I immediately remembered Sab Anitya hai. If you know the joke, you know. So with meditation or without meditation, Dhamma works. Like, when coming back from Vipassana, I had some really terrible experience. My flight got cancelled and I had to buy a ticket at the airport, which was so expensive. But surprisingly, I was very calm in the whole situation. And surprisingly, because I was constantly, I think, at the back of the mind, and also having gone through a technique like this for 10 days, already had so much, like positive self-talk, or this talk with myself that yes, sab anitya hai. What happened was, even though the flight that I had to book, because my one flight got cancelled and I had to buy a ticket at the airport, the flight that I had to book, they had all seats full. And right when I walked in, after 2 minutes, they said we just had a cancellation and we can take you in. So, like that's what you start realizing, that if you're just observing, and genuinely at that time, although I'm not like that, because I had done a lot of arrangements and I really wanted to come back home because of certain reasons, but in that moment I also just started slightly mentally preparing myself that okay, whatever next flight they give me, that's fine. Or even if they give me a flight for like 2 days or 1 day later, I'll be okay with that, and I'll not like stress my mind over it. This is what it is. And immediately the moment I had this talk with myself, it's like, oh, we just had a cancellation, we can take you in. And I actually reached a little early than the time that I had actually stipulated for my arrival. So yeah, so I think that's one very good and positive takeaway from this, that is that 10 days continuously experiencing things within your own body, as opposed to visualizing something or focusing the concentration on a particular chant, and then just being hopeful with the vibrations of that chant or that word. It just gives you a different perspective. It teaches you how to observe the reality as it is and not react to it. Do not get attached, do not detest, just stay with it. And as I told you, this is exactly what I was seeking. A little bit about the living arrangements. So if you are somebody who has experienced the concept of living in a dharamshala, we used to have these a lot, near Delhi. So when you visit places like Vrindavan or Bikaner, and like in north, there are a couple of these pilgrimage places. So what happens is, there in the olden times, before the concept of hotels came into being, there were dharamshalas. So dharamshalas basically meant that a lot of people come together, pool in money to build like a place for all the devotees to come and stay. So usually here what tends to happen is, you are taking care of your own food. Like you're provided either with the kitchen, a small space which has like a stove, and you're supposed to like do the cooking there, wash your own utensils, clean your own quarters. So if you're aware of that concept, then living was pretty much like a dharamshala. And you used to get 3 meals there in the day: breakfast, lunch and evening meal, and no dinner. And why is that? Because they said that meditation is best practiced actually when your stomach is at least one quarter of your stomach is empty. So and I actually do think that is right, because not that we were doing any physical activity or anything there, and if you do tend to overeat, you know, you immediately tend to become very sleepy afterwards. So yeah, I mean, so that's that. And then obviously there was RM on. While you could talk to the sevaks or the teachers, you had to wash your own clothes in case you wanted to wash your own clothes. And now because of COVID, they were taking certain extra precautions, like you had to carry your own beddings and you had to carry your own utilities like soap, etc. And honestly speaking, I was very comfortable with all of this. In fact, the food was quite sattvic in its nature, and I personally quite enjoyed it. To be honest, I was really looking forward to all of this. And they also take away your phones, so I was really looking forward to that. Like, somebody take my phone away from me, please, mat do mujhe for 10 days. So that was really nice. When you should do it or not do it, in my opinion, I think everybody should do it. It's the most beautiful thing, it's most practical, it's so real, and you would just feel it, you know, like you would just feel it within yourself, and you would like, oh yeah, like this is the eternal and supreme truth. You would actually feel like that. But when you should not do it, if you are not mentally prepared to confront yourself, this is my understanding. I would, however, tell that, you know, everybody should be at least that strong that they are able to confront their own thoughts, confront their own self, and, you know, make sense out of their thoughts. But if you're not in a space like that, I would tell you not to do it, because you would be distracted through and through. And while you would learn the technique or whatever, but then what use is course, you know, if you're not actually practicing it? It's almost like that, you know, if you do a hobby course like cooking or anything, but if you're not actually cooking, you would immediately forget that, you know, what were you taught in the class. So it's the same thing. And also, you should not do it if you're not mentally prepared to live like that. That is, without your phone, surviving on 3 meals in a day. Honestly, it was not that difficult, to be honest. Actually, it was not difficult at all. I don't want to say it was not that difficult. It was not difficult at all. But at the same time, if you're not used to surviving like that, doing your own chores, you've had a very luxurious or a comfortable life and you don't want to give it up just yet, then again, do not do it, because what I feel is your mind would always be distracted to that aspect. Then again, if you're somebody who just feels that, oh no, I don't want to be so quiet or with my thoughts, I don't want to be that secluded, then don't do it. Because if you're not going to be mentally prepared for these things as a part of the whole package, then you will not have a great takeaway from the main technique also. Why you should do it? Just do it. I don't even want to say why, but just do it. But anyway, why you should do it? If you're like me, who's seeking stillness in their life, and you're very mentally prepared to practice stillness and do whatever it takes to like keep it as a part of your life, then that's one reason. Secondly, if you do have questions about life, and if you like, you know, want to change a lot of habits, behavioral patterns of yourself, then do it. And if you're just somebody who has always questioned a lot of things, or you know, if you're somebody who's very caught up in their past and you just are seeking a way to like get outside or get out of your past, or if you're just very anxious about the future and you just like, yeah, I know people keep on saying the present is now, live in the now, but I don't know how to live in the now. This will teach you how to live in the now. But one very important thing, that is that if you don't practice it daily, then it's literally like you've just taken a course, and now that you've taken the course, you have learnt the art, but you have not practiced the art, and you don't know how to make use of the art. So if you take a cooking course and you have learned like all these different ways of making cakes and like, I don't know, like meals, dinners, whatever, so you have done it in the class, you really enjoyed it, and then when you come back, you never practice it or you never made it, and now it's been what, like months or years, and you've totally forgotten it. So you can obviously revisit your notes, but at the same time, then there could be certain struggles that you may experience and you may not know what to do, or there could be certain things that you know that you may have forgotten. So the real benefit of the technique is only and only when you practice it daily, because 10 days just a course, and it's a good taster, you know, like in 10 days you start realizing, oh, if this technique is for me or not. That's one thing. Secondly, oh, like within these 10 days did I see like certain things different in me, or certain things I felt like that, no, no, yeah, I am feeling more drawn, I want to pursue more of it. So you will just have those as answers. But then don't expect any miraculous changes in 10 days, because it's just a course. Like, you don't become a Michelin star chef just because you took like a cooking course or a hobby cooking course. So do not expect that. It is only with your continuous practice, and realistically speaking, I think continuous practice of 1 year, that you might actually start noticing change within yourself. And why within yourself? Because when things change here, things change here. We all know that. Now, couple of random things that I do want to share. So the center that I went to was Dhamma, Nagpur, and it was really beautiful. Like, honestly, 10-11 days not having almost anybody to talk to, and like being with your own. There were a lot of moments, like that I personally enjoyed a lot. All the centers are built a little away from the city. That means you get to enjoy a lot of greenery. So I was really enjoying the different the different flora there, the trees, the flowers, and like a lot of things were also very unique to me, like certain flowers, certain trees that I had not really seen. Then, because they are a little away from the city, then I also spotted a lot of langurs and wild rabbits and different sort of birds. So I really enjoyed, because whenever we had little breaks, we would all, because it was so cold, we'd all go out either in the sun, or we'd take like short walks in and around the center. And it was beautiful, like so much greenery. And I remember this one moment that I think I woke up in the morning. Yeah, I think it was a morning moment. So this one moment when I looked up in the sky, and the moon was there, in its crescent form. And literally, when I looked up in the sky for a second and then I looked away, I literally thought to myself, what is that silver shining thing in the sky? And I looked, and it was the moon. So that was so beautiful. And then when after the meditation we came out at around 6:30, then the whole sky was like pink, blue, the early morning sky colors. And I really enjoyed, just being around so much nature and greenery, and being with my own thoughts, understanding my own mind, and understanding a lot of things about me. And yeah, like practicing this technique. And there were days when I was able to sit through the entire meditation in the perfect meditation pose, and I would just feel, wow, like, oh, I never knew I had it in me. So that was very beautiful. And also, because I attended it in Nagpur, and I'm not from this side of the country, I'm from North India. So I have to say, Marathi people are so sweet. When the morn broke, and when we could all chat, they were all so sweet. And they all gathered around me, and they started teaching me Marathi, and almost scolding me. They were like, hey, you stay in Bombay, you have to learn Marathi. So I learned a little bit, which is just me Marathi aahe. So I could just tell this to people, and then they can just chat in Marathi, and I'll be like, oh, I don't know Marathi, I was just taking your case. So yeah, and people were not only helpful, I really enjoyed speaking to people from very diverse backgrounds also. And as the morn broke, some people wanted to share a little part of themselves and their lives and their story. And it again, just gives you a perspective into how misery is everywhere, and everybody is dealing with things in their own way. Or sometimes if somebody told something very nice or positive, you just realize that even like in a situation which they feel was full of misery, how they came out, or how they choose to look at things. So I really enjoyed the whole experience overall. Even in terms of the meal planning, I used to really look forward to the meals, and not because we were hungry, or anything, but it's also because they were really creative. They used to always try and give us something different, and usually things which I'm not habitual of back home. They had it there, like they would have a little bit of salad on the side. Sometimes they would jazz it up and give us a little save in the meal, or sometimes they would make like a small sweet dish. So it always felt like nice complete meals. I recorded this video, this part later. I really want to tell you this. The concept of Anitya resonated so much with me, and it's so beautiful. And I literally feel like I was meant to be in Vipassana at some point in my life. And I genuinely feel I must have done something really great in my last life that I got in touch with this technique. So anyway, I have this tattoo that I really really don't like. Okay, like in terms of visual representation, I don't feel it's me. I'll tell you the story some other time, or let me know if you need like a short video on this story. So it's this tattoo, okay, and I only conceptualized it, but I don't like the size of it basically. So basically, this is the line of karma, and this symbol here is the symbol of Hakuna Matata, which says no worries for the rest of your life. And then this is supposed to signify freedom. So basically, when you live your life worry free, you slowly just experience the karma or whatever it is that you have to experience as it is, and you get free from your life, or you feel liberated. That was the concept, okay? Like when I got this tattoo done, and I have always hated this tattoo. Like I used to feel कि ये tattoo हट सकता है क्या, because I want the same tattoo, but I wanted like this size. And don't ask me why I got this done, okay? Like ऐसे size में I got it done. So when I came across Anitya, I was like, oh my god, not only it makes sense here, but at the same time I finally feel I have found that one word that I would like to get written near my tattoo, or like put up near my tattoo to explain that Anitya hai. Because I mean, the concept that I just explained to you, what I had for my tattoo, is basically this thought only that without worries, you're just supposed to experience your life, the karma as it is, to be liberated. And I'm like, wow, it was meant to be. So yeah, that was my experience. You let me know if you have any more questions. I would love to answer all your questions. And in fact, the more the merrier, like when you would go for something like this, and if you're able to survive all through 10 days, you would just want that, everybody should just do it. Like, just do it. So, questions are welcomed. And I really recommend you watch my other video in which I've spoken about gross body, subtle body, and the kosha body, so that you understand that, okay, how. And that video is actually the basis of spirituality, like why you should practice, or like how all these spiritual practices, they actually tend to work. So you should actually go and watch that. And if you like this video, then you know what to do. You have to like and you have to comment, and if you're new, then please do also subscribe. Bye.